Eid Mubarak. Welcome to SATV News. This is Tushi Amin. Eid ul-Fitr, the biggest religious festival of Muslims, is being celebrated across the country today with much enthusiasm and religious fervor. The main congregation of Eid ul-Fitr prayers was held at the National Eidgah this morning. The congregation took place at 8:30 a.m. led by Mufti Muhammad Abdul Malik, Khatib of the Baitul Mukarram National Mosque. President Muhammad Shahabuddin and Prime Minister Tariq Rahman joined the congregation alongside thousands of worshippers. Members of the judiciary, cabinet ministers and diplomats from various Muslim countries also participated in the main Eid congregation. The prayers were held in a peaceful and festive atmosphere with tight security measures in place around the Eidgah. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has sought the cooperation of all to build the Bangladesh that people aspire to see, saying the government will work to run the country in line with public expectations. He made these remarks while briefing journalists at an Eid greetings exchange event with dignitaries at the State Guest House, Jamuna. Tariq Rahman also expressed his commitment to moving forward in unity with everyone and extended Eid greetings to the people of the country. The Prime Minister paid tribute to the martyrs of 1971 and 2024. His wife, Dr. Jubaida Rahman, and daughter Jaima Rahman, other family members, cabinet members, and top leaders were present at the time. Jamaat-e-Islami chief and opposition leader Dr. Shafiqur Rahman has questioned the government's selective approach to the election and referendum results, asking why voting for parliament is accepted as valid while the referendum is being disregarded. Voting and referendum, if one is legitimate, why would the other be illegitimate? He said while speaking to journalists today after leading Eid ul-Fitr prayers at Manipur School and College ground in the capital. Dr. Rahman warned that if the referendum issue is not resolved in Parliament, the opposition will take the matter to the streets with the support of 70% of the population who voted in favor of reform. Commenting on the Eid travel chaos, the Jamaat chief said the nation was embarrassed by the fare scandal and the transport minister remarks during the holiday season. It was inhuman. The government should have ensured a comfortable journey for the people, but failed to do so, he said. He further extended Eid greetings to all citizens and the Bangladeshi diaspora and expect solidarity with the people of Gaza and Iran amid ongoing violence, saying he believed the oppressed would ultimately be victorious. The first congregation of Eid ul-Fitr prayers was held at the Baitul Mukarram National Mosque this morning in a solemn yet festive atmosphere. The prayers were held at 7 a.m. led by the mosque's senior Pesh Imam Maulana Mizanur Rahman. Before the prayer, he delivered a sermon offering religious guidance and advice to the gathered worshippers. A total of 5 Eid congregations were scheduled to be held at the National Mosque. Following the first Jama, the remaining 4 took place at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. respectively. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken part in an Eid ul-Fitr congregation at the Sholakia Eidgah in Kishoreganj. The congregation, which began at 10 a.m. today, was the 199th Eid congregation at the grounds. The turnout was estimated at 6 lakh people. The congregation was led by Maulana Abul Khair MD Safullah, the Khatib of the local Boro Bazar Mosque. A strict 4-tier security system was arranged by the police, the Rapid Action Battalion, Army and Border Guard Bangladesh personnel to ensure the safety of those attending the congregation. A large number of volunteers and medical teams were also on duty. People had gathered at Sholakia Eidgah before 9 a.m. and the massive grounds were filled to capacity. The railway authorities have arranged 2 special trains called Sholakia Specials for those coming from far and wide to attend the event. Bangladesh Government State Minister for Jute and Textile MD Shariful Alam, local MP, Mazharul Islam, District Council Administration, Khaled Saifullah Sohel, Deputy Commissioner Aslam Mullah and Police Superintendent SM Farhad Hussain, political leaders and administration officials along with people from all walks of life attended the congregation. Viewers, taking a short break, please stay with us.
Not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital.
Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really come to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
they will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital.
Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful.
Welcome back. You're watching SATV News. Now news from abroad. An Iranian missile launched towards central Israel carrying a cluster warhead hit at least 10 sites, including a kindergarten on Saturday, said the mayor of Rishon LeZion. Mayor of the central Israeli city, Ras Kistis, told Reuters that outside the kindergarten, that if the attack were to happen during a school day, the results could be more severe. Iran's supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, in a statement on Friday, urged Afghanistan and Pakistan to improve relations, saying he is ready to take steps to help. The comments were part of his Nowruz or Persian New Year statement, which were read on state TV. Khamenei also warned against division among Muslims in this statement. He said attacks in Turkey and Oman were not carried out by Iran's armed forces, calling them a false flag by a Zionist enemy meant to sow rifts with neighbors, and cautioned that similar attempts could occur elsewhere. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said the US was getting very close to meeting its objective as it considers winding down its military efforts in Iran war, and called on countries that use Strait of Hormuz to guard and police it as necessary. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel told a group of foreign activists bringing humanitarian aid to the island on Friday that Cuba was preparing for possible U.S. aggression. Speaking at a solitary event in Havana, Diaz-Canel quoted U.S. President Donald Trump as saying that all possible measures had been applied to Cuba and that the only option remaining was to take over and destroy everything. The Cuban leader emphasized that the country had launched a defense preparation plan based on the concept of war of all the people, which he described as defensive rather aggressive. Diaz-Canel also stressed that Cuba's revolutionary leadership remained united and that all decisions were made collectively, with historic leader Army General Raul Castro still present in the leadership. The Trump administration has imposed an oil blockade on the communist-run nation, pushing it deeper into economic crisis as bilateral talks reportedly continue. A Russian drone strike destroyed a private house in the southeastern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia on Saturday, killing a man and a woman and injuring 2 children. Locals of
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President
Iran fired 2 intermediate-range ballistic missiles at Diego Garcia, but did not hit the US-UK military base in the Indian Ocean, reported the Wall Street Journal on Friday, citing multiple US officials. According to newspapers, one of the missiles failed in flight, while the US warship fired a SM-3 interceptor at the other, although it could not be determined if the interception succeeded. However, the journal did not specify when the missiles were fired. The White House and the British Embassy in Washington and Ministry of Defense did not immediately respond to requests for comment. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby said on Friday, the airline will cancel about 5% of planned flights in the short term as jet fuel prices surge due to the Middle East conflict. If prices stayed at this level, it would mean an extra $11 billion in annual expense just for jet fuel. Kirby said in a message to employees posted on the company's website, adding his plans assume oil goes to $175 per barrel and does not get back down to $100 per barrel until the end of 2027. The airline's current plan is to restore the full schedule this fall, Kirby added. The airline is cancelling about 3 percentage points of capacity in off-peak periods during the second and third quarters. Colombian President Gustavo Petro on Friday rejected accusation of ties to drug trafficking and denied receiving money from the mafia for his political campaigns. Pedro's response comes after a source earlier told Reuters that he is under criminal investigation by 2 U.S. federal prosecutors' offices. The New York Times was the first to report on the investigation against Pedro. According to the report, it involves prosecutors specializing in international drug trafficking, along with agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration and Homeland Security investigation. There is not a single investigation into any relationship between me and drug traffickers for one simple reason. I have never in my life spoken to a drug trafficker, Petro wrote on his X account. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said on Friday that the Pentagon was extending and modifying a program allowing service members dismissed for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine to apply for reinstatement. Hegseth said the revised guidance would extend the application window through April 1, 2027 and reduce the required service commitment for returning personnel to 2 years from 4. He also directed the military departments to recontract former service members who have not yet rejoined, saying the changes would apply across the board, including to those already reinstated. The Biden administration imposed a COVID-19 vaccine mandate for U.S. service members in 2021, arguing it was necessary to protect troop readiness during the pandemic. The policy led to the discharge of about 8,000 troops who refused the vaccine. In early 2025, the Pentagon announced initial step to reinstate and compensate former service members, with Friday's announcement marking an expansion and modification of those efforts.
To further encourage the return of
Spain's government on Friday proposed measures worth €5 billion to counter the economic impact of the Middle East conflict on local energy prices. The measures, which require approval from Parliament, include the reduction of value-added tax on electricity bills to 10%, cutting fuel prices by up to 30 cents per litre, and granting a fuel subsidy of 20 cents per litre for the farming and transport sectors, which is some of the most exposed to the sharp spike in energy prices caused by the war. Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, who is among the most vocal critics of the US-Israeli attacks on Iran, said the measures would be in place for as long as necessary, but that no plan can neutralize the misery of this illegal war. In a sign of growing division within the leftist ruling coalition, hard-left coalition partner Sumar had threatened to vote against the measures if they did not address housing prices.
Vamos a bajar los impuestos sobre la electricidad en un 60%.
Serbia will cut excise duties on crude oil by a cumulative 60% to calm the local market and offset effects of the Israeli-US war with Iran, said the country's President Alexander Vučić on Friday. Last week, Serbia cut excise duty on fuel by 20% to prevent price hikes, and Vučić said on Friday that the government would cut them by additional 40%. His administration will do it even at the cost of losing revenues, Vučić told a news conference in Belgrade. Belgrade has maintained a price cap on diesel fuel and gasoline since February 2022, with the government setting prices weekly on Thursday. Belgrade also extended a ban on crude oil and fuel product export until April 2nd. Vučić says Serbia has ample reserves of diesel, gasoline and natural gases in storage, and there would be no fuel rationing at petrol stations. Russian energy giant Gazprom is Serbia's biggest supplier of natural gas, covering up to 90% of its annual consumption of around 2.5 billion cubic meters. Serbia's current gas deal expires on March 31st, and Belgrade was seeking an extension. You're updated with the top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.